charlatans and scammers in the spiritual world. I have encountered them, and maybe you have too. Those are people who take advantage of others' vulnerability, whether it is grief, heartbreak, fear, and all this to make money under the disguise of guidance or mystical powers. So today I'm talking about fake psychics and scammers and how to recognize them through 10 red flags. I will also be talking about the techniques they use and will show you some real and sometimes completely absurd examples. I will talk about how I personally got scammed when I was younger, and most importantly, I'm going to share how to protect your energy and your discernment. Welcome to Mystical and Practical, the podcast that demystifies the soul's journey, the spirit world, and spiritual practices. I'm Meli Guidance, a past life psychic, certified Akashic Records reader, and channeling coach. Here, we talk about spirit guides, the Akashic Records, reincarnation, and everything that connects the seen to the unseen, all with both feet firmly on the ground. Ready to decode the spirit world and connect with your inner magic? Let's jump right in. Hi there, today we're starting something new. It is season 2 of the Mystical and Practical podcast, and this season we're going deeper. Season 1 we talked about the soul's journey. Season 2 we're talking about spiritual sovereignty. We will cover how to navigate the unseen world without losing your power, without falling into fear, and with discernment. Because spirituality isn't just about opening up. It is also about learning how to discern. But before we dive into today's episodes on scammers, I want to take a moment to say thank you. Thank you to everyone who took the time during season 1 to leave ratings, reviews, and comments on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and YouTube. It truly makes a huge difference. So thank you to Louis, Danielle, Claire, Tori, Psychopomp, Jessica, Whitney, Bettina, and Donna, who took the time to comment and or ask questions throughout season 1. Honestly, every message, every rating, every piece of feedback helps the podcast be seen, discovered, and reach more people. So if you're listening right now and you enjoy the podcast, I invite you to take just 10 seconds to leave a rating or a review. It really makes all the difference. Okay, now let's get into today's topic. It's an important one, but it's not always talked about. And this is fake psychics, scammers, or psychic scammers if you wish. And I'm not sharing this today to create any fear, but just to give you your power back. Because the more you are aware, the less you can be manipulated. So let's start right away and jump in with the 10 red flags. Red flag number 1 of a psychic scammer is guaranteed results. A real channeler, a real psychic will never promise results. If someone guarantees healing from cancer, finding your soulmate, or winning the lottery, that's an immediate red flag. And that's often the first trap because it gives you hope, but it's not the only trap. Red flag number 2, cutting you off from the real world. If someone tells you to stop seeing your doctor, therapist, psychologist, claiming that your spirit guides are enough, or that only an energetic intervention operation is needed, that is very dangerous. Your spirit guides can support you, yes, but they don't replace real-world care. They often say this, like, we're here in the spirit world, but we cannot support in the 3D. And when someone starts isolating you like that, there's usually something else behind it. So you need to really be careful. My spirit guides always say that humans incarnate to support and help each other. And spirit guides are there. Their name says it. They're there to give you guidance. But the support in the 3D world is very important. Now, red flag number 3 is trying to fix your life for you. Be very careful with those who claim they can solve your problems for you, because no one can heal or evolve on your behalf. A session, psychic reading, Akashic reading can give you insights, but you are always the one who chooses to act. You have your free will. And sometimes that illusion of having someone fix everything for us is very enticing. You know, a magic solution would be great, but that's not why we incarnated. We incarnated to have challenges. We want to be challenged to learn life lessons, to get our own epiphanies. And so you don't want to give your power to someone else. You really want to live your own life path and do your own, findings and learning the lessons. So red flag number 4 is using fear and urgency. So there are those who talk about curses, negative energies that need to be removed immediately. And it often ends with an urgent payment to free you from spirits, evil spirits. So that's another classic trap. They're using fear, they're using urgency. And there are those who even go as far as to say, for example, that your soul is 80% dark, and that the only way to bring it back into the light is through multiple healing sessions with them only. So if someone scares you and then sells you a solution, ask yourself one simple question. Who does it really benefits here? Your soul is always pure. Now, your energies can be lower when you are sick, maybe you're grieving, and you can absolutely get energetic attacks from other people. And I've mentioned this in episode 14, that all the words that come out of our mouths and are the thoughts that we are thinking, they are affecting the people around us. So if all of this is positive, our positive energies are contagious and affecting those around us. But if they are negative, like, they're affecting them too. So if you have a lot of negative people around you, dramatic people creating drama, that might affect you. Now, that's a fact, but there's no psychic who can claim to say that your soul is dark and that you absolutely need to be saved. Now let's move on to red flag number 5, predicting your future with certainty. Now, psychics who claim to know your future for certain is a red flag, because your free will is sacred, and everyone's free will is sacred. And time is fluid. The future is flexible. It's never fixed. So no one can predict your life 100%. Now, there are some psychic mediums who have been, what's the term? Like, not screen tested. Yes. Is that the word? Like, they've been tested. And I'm thinking, for example, about Lauren Lynn Jackson. She's the author of Signs and the Light Between Us. And she has been tested by the Forever Family Foundation. That's a foundation that helps parents, grieving parents who lost children. So you can see how this is very delicate. You want a psychic who is accurate. And I say psychic, but medium, because they do mediumship. And so in terms of mediumship, the few psychics who work for that foundation have been tested with blind tests, many blind tests. I think there were 4 phases total, and they needed to kind of graduate or succeed at all the 4 phases. So that was very serious, but they are mediums. They channel past loved ones. They're not necessarily predicting the future. That being said, Lauren Lynn Jackson is extremely good at predicting events, but she could not claim to be 100% sure every time, because everyone has their free will, everything is flexible. Now, what a psychic can say, and what I say when I do tarot readings and I look at the future and the long-term future, is here are possibilities. Reading your energies right now, here is what the spirit guides say that is possible for you, that is aligned with your soul's path. But it's up to you if you want to take action on it or not. Now, moving on to red flag number 6, charging you for an urgent message. So those are people who usually will DM you on social media and say, I received an important message for you from my spirit guides. Like, woke up this morning, got a message, and they said it was for, I don't know, Tanya. I don't know. I was going to say Tanya Harding, but that's a figure skater. But I don't know. Tanya Smith. Let's take a very random name. If you are Tanya Smith, that's completely random. So I've got your name. I've got a message. If you want to hear the message, you can pay a session with me and you will receive it. That is very common. And it happened to me that I got, what's the term? Like when they take your identity on social media, personification. I know there's a term. And what happened is that it was in the first years of Meli guidance. And it was on Instagram where I have most of my following, but it wasn't a huge following at the time. Maybe it was like 2,000 followers. And I didn't have the blue check mark. So I was very easy to scam. So what they were doing is they were copying my Instagram profile. And instead of it being called at Meli Guidance, it was like at Meli.guiding. So it looked like it was me, and they would do screenshots of my posts, and they would use that and then DM people and tell them that they have messages for them. And of course, people always had to pay first to get their message. And spoiler alert, I'm sure they never got the message. But that was really funny when a scammer copied my account and then tried to scam me. They, obviously it was a robot, but the robot spotted me and was saying, hey, I'm Meli Guidance and I have a message for you. And I was like, oh, that's funny. I'm actually Meli Guidance. I just blocked that person and reported them. But that is a very common practice, a tactic, I would say. But it usually doesn't stop there. There's a red flag number 7, and that is creating financial dependency. So there are those who ask you to pay endlessly, session after session, to maintain your energy. So you go from one payment to dependency, and that's where it becomes really problematic. But I want to tell you, I have worked with energy healer, and a good legit energy healer, at the first healing session, maybe you tell them, well, I have this trauma or blockage, or I'm feeling this in my body. Can you please help me heal this? They will do the session. And at the end of this first session, it's very common that they will tell you, well, look, I did some healing, but it's quite deep. So it may take 1 or 2 extra sessions if you wish to go further. But it's always like, if you wish. They never put any urgency or push you or send you 10 emails after telling you that you absolutely need to get a healing because you are too dark or you have bad energies. They will never say this. Okay, so red flag number 8 is asking for sensitive personal information. Now, be careful with those who ask for too much info like photos, date of birth, address, banking details. Of course, we never give those away because they can be used for identity theft and fraud. Now, of course, if you are going to an astrologer, you will need to tell them your date of birth and your place of birth. That's just how it goes. Just make sure, do your research, make sure the person is legit. Like, they should never ask you for your bank details on top of that. Some energy healers do maybe aura healing and they need a photo of you on a white background. Now, that's a regular practice. If it's only they're asking just for your photo and nothing else, I feel like it's fine. I mean, they could do things with your picture if they're not legit, but as I said, do your research, make sure that the website seems legit. It's hard these days because there's AI, it's scammers can create a website that seems legit, but look for reviews, look for do they have a YouTube website where they share information? Like, can you see them, or is it just no? How do you say no face reels? So make sure that it's a real person and that you feel good about them. Now, red flag number 9 is putting on a show to impress you or, even worse, scare you. So there's this performance aspect, and if you know me, I always say this, like, channeling is not a performance. If someone's trying to put on a show, rolling their eyes, trying to scare you, then talking in a deep voice, all this to prove their abilities, it's a big red flag. Channeling is completely natural. Everyone is psychics, and everyone is channeling every day, whether they are conscious of it or not. Just your sense of intuition is channeling. And by the way, if you're the type of person who's wondering if you're channeling or if you're imagining, I have my channeling cheat sheet that is free to download, and I will put it in the show notes if you're interested into that. And then if you're really someone who wants to learn the techniques and feel safe to channel your spirit guides, I also have an online course, so I'm going to put that in the comments. But yeah, if someone is trying to impress you, frighten you, run. That's a big no. Okay, our last red flag number 10, the lack of transparency and structure. Now, a real practitioner is clear about what they do and what they don't do. So if someone has no clear framework, no transparent pricing, no ethical boundaries, no verifiable presence like website testimonials, like you see them in reels and YouTube videos, that's a warning sign. Because spirituality does not exclude professionalism. In fact, it should go hand in hand with it. Now, let's quickly see some of the techniques that scammers are using in the spiritual universe. They actually use pretty much the same strategies, and the more you know them, the easier they are to recognize. So, as I mentioned before, they will try and take advantage of people in distress, people who are grieving, ill, just had a breakup, or financial struggles. And if you fall into that category, your energies, like your vibration is lower, you're more vulnerable, maybe you're kind of, you want so much an answer, and it's normal. Like, I'm like this. When something very intense happens in my life, and it's hard for me to look at the future and know what's going to happen, and it's hard for me to feel safe, like I want to get those answers. And this is when those kind of judgment barriers are easy to be taken apart. Scammers also target older individuals who may be more isolated and trusting. They also create pressure and urgency, often asking for immediate payment. That's because you will never receive your reading. They will just take the money and go. Sometimes they redirect you to a premium rate number or a call center that is disguised as psychic services. And in those call centers, what they do is they ask you a ton of questions first. So this is called information digging. They ask you a ton of information about who you are, like where you live, and they're digging, trying to find out what kind of person you are, so it's easier just to do fake predictions, but they will do that for at least 5 to 10 minutes. And obviously you're paying per minute, so they're making sure that they're making their money there. Some demand wire transfers, prepaid cards, or cryptocurrency because these are hard to trace. and they push paid rituals or energy protections that need to be renewed every month. Now I will share with you something a bit embarrassing. I will share how I got scammed when I was in my 20s. So I was in my 20s. I had been single for quite a while. I really wanted to find my person. Found it hard that I wasn't matching with anyone, and I was really out there at the time, as I was working in the arts community in Montreal, and I was working for an arts presenter. So we had a venue with shows. So I was working in communications and marketing. So meeting like a lot of artists, people who were working, like technicians working on shows, members of the public. My social life was very, very active at the time. And I felt like, okay, I'm cute, I'm doing all the things, I'm open, I'm meeting people, nothing's happening. And I never thought about having a psychic reading of any sorts because I was coming from thinking all those people were charlatans. Because I think I heard my mom or my dad say this when I was young. As long as I can remember, like that was ingrained in me, like, oh, they are all charlatans. I did have my experience with my father at the time who passed away. That's the experience I'm talking about at episode number 1. My deceased father, his spirit, came through and guided me to Journey of Souls by Michael Newton. So I had a spiritual awakening, but I had been scared and closed myself off. But I was seeing someone, how do you say, like esthetician in English? Is that the word? Beautician? I'm never sure. And I was seeing her very frequently, maybe 2 times a month, and she had become a friend, and I trusted her, and she told me, on the street where I have my business, there is this woman. She's often sat on a bench, and she's doing palm readings, and she is wonderful. I had 2 readings with her. Everything that she's telling me about me, it checks. I don't know how she could know that, and she's like telling me things about the future. It feels really aligned. So I felt, well, okay, I think I'm going to try it because I trusted that person. And that person really believed that her reading was accurate. So one time I'm going to meet her, to meet my esthetician. I'm in advance and I see that lady on a bench and she's doing palm readings. So I sit and I say, hi, can I get a palm reading? And immediately she gets really, really weird. She's like, oh, yes, you can, but you know what? I need to pick up my son and I don't have much time. But if you want to, you can give me $5 and I'll do a quick basic reading. And I'm like, yeah, sure. And it took her less than a minute just to tell me, oh yeah, you're gonna get married, have 2 kids, a boy and a girl. I'm 26 years old, and the first thing I'm thinking is, she just told me what I want to hear. That's so obvious. Like, she's looking at me, super young. I cannot remember if she went fishing for information. So maybe she pushed and asked me, are you seeing someone? And maybe she said, I really want to know. I really need to know in order to be accurate or anything. But I'm kind of feeling uneasy. But she's so like, she's always in urgency that she's like, well, if you want to, I can give you, like, if you want to pay an extra $5, I can do this type of extended palm reading. But we need to be quick because sometimes, like, there is this police walking around or security guards, I don't know. And sometimes they ask me not to sit on the bench too long. And I'm like, but she's kind of got me into this kind of urgency that I'm not really knowing what's happening, and I give her an extra $5. And I think the reading lasted 30 seconds after that, and she stood up really fast and she left. I don't even remember what she told me. And it's one of those moments when everything went so quickly that I got up and I was like, what the heck just happened? I just got scammed for sure. So that was my experience, but I want you to know that, since then I got to know wonderful psychics. Obviously, when I wanted to first channel, I wanted a mentor, but I was so afraid to get someone who would scam me that it took a long time for me to get a mentor. And in the end, my husband told me of a family friend who became psychic, who, like, I knew this person and I trusted her 100%. And that's what got me into psychic readings and got me comfortable. And because of that, I got to be able to tell who's legit, who's not. And I have peers that are wonderful. And I did get a legit palm reading 1 or 2 years ago. That was completely wonderful and completely legit. So, yes, we need to be on our guards, but there are real people who you can trust. Okay, so now let's come to the fun part. It's a part that I see as it's better to laugh at it than to cry about it. And I'm going to give you examples of ads from psychic scammers. So, if you are watching this on Spotify or YouTube, I'm going to show you the ads if you want to take a look. If you're just listening to the audio, it is fine. I'm going to read what's on the ad. Okay, so let me just bring this on my screen. First ad. It's bright red to get your attention. That's a good marketing technique. Remember, I'm from marketing. In my 20s, I used to work in marketing. So, big red ad. It says, astrology, palm and face reading. Face, that's new. Horoscope, numerology, psychic advisor, spiritual healer. Specialize in solving all kinds of problems. So you're specializing in all kinds of problems. So you're not specialized. And now they have a list of pretty much everything. Children problems, work problems, husband, wife problems, marriage problems, court cases, financial problems, sexual problems, love problems, enemy problems, business problems, black magic. Jadoo, I don't know what Jadoo is. Evil eye power, evil spirit, witchcraft, voodoo. Guarantee to solve all your problems, quick results, 100% success, 100% guarantee. Okay, so red flags here. First, the guarantee to solve all your problems, guaranteed results. No one can guarantee 100%. Also, 100% success, quick results, that are unrealistic promises. They claim to fix everything: love, money, health, legal issues, and so on. So that's really too broad to be credible. There is a mix of multiple spiritual practices at the top and that aims to appear more powerful, and that is actually false authority. They also use fear-based terms like black magic, evil spirit, and witchcraft, so that's manipulation through fear. And the ad targets highly sensitive and vulnerable situations like relationships, finances, sexuality. And we have absolutely no explanation of process, boundaries, or ethics, which is a lack of professionalism. Okay, let's move on to example number 2. And at first we have some big letters, and then it's all small and tiny, so I'm going to read for you, but that one is interesting. So it says in big typo, Chesterfield, okay? And then smaller typo, psychic, palmist, and clairvoyant. Okay, so far, okay. And now we have a long text, but an interesting one. They start saying, my only reason for calling you by name. What? Did someone just call me by my name? I'm reading an ad in the newspaper, so that's weird. So my only reason for calling you by my name and what you called for is incidentally a chain to read by. What is more important to serious people is what to do or what to expect regarding present or future affairs. If you're listening the audio, I swear I am reading this word for word. Does it make sense? Absolutely not. Rest assured. Don't try to make any sense of that. And by the way, that was a full sentence. Okay, moving on. If you are ambitious, now who says they're not ambitious? Anyways, if you are ambitious, if you wish to be a success, if you are involved in an unhappy love affair, or if you desire to better your financial condition, if you are in doubt concerning your future and wish to attain that subtle, potent, magnetic force, that seductive, attractive personal charm, so irresistible in its power to dominate and control others, then go at once and consult with Professor Chesterfield. He is ever ready to help those with capital to find a safe and good paying investment. This he can do and asks no fee until the investment pays a handsome profit. Okay, now we got to the end of that sentence, guys. That was a full sentence. Okay. Is this not honest? You hear the truth and nothing but the truth. Okay, if you say so. He's not done. What's his name? Professor Chesterfield is not done. He has more to say. Greatest living astral dead trance clairvoyant of the age. That makes no sense. Advisor on business and all affairs of life. Tells your full name and what you called for, whom you will marry, how to control the one you love. Come on. No spirit guides will want you to control anyone. Like free will is the rule. Okay, let's continue. Even though, how to control the ones you love, even though miles away. Reunite the separated, gives secret power to control, no long delay in waiting. And now to finish, in Europe, 1 week only, special low fee all this week, $5 dead trance deep psychic reading, $1. And then he gives the address, office hours 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. So there you go. He never eats, never goes to the bathroom. I don't know. Daily and Sunday. Okay. Woo! That was a long one, but a very entertaining one. Again, it's better to laugh at this than to cry about it. Okay, red flags here. It claims to know, Professor Chesterfield claims to know your full name and why you came. So this is the illusion of supernatural accuracy. He promises to predict your future with marriage, success, and life path. He offers control over others, using words as dominate, control the one you love. That's a major ethical red flag. He targets emotional vulnerability with love, money, uncertainty about the future. He positions himself as the greatest, which is completely authority inflation. He uses impressive but very vague language that oftentimes makes no sense, but he uses like magnetic force, secret power. Now, this is manipulation through the mystique. He promises business and financial success. Those are unrealistic claims outside the spiritual scope. He creates urgency because he says he's there 1 week only in Europe. So there's the pressure to act fast. And he offers everything at once. Love, money, power, whatever. I'm just going to give it to you because, spoiler alert, he's not. He's just telling you what you want to hear. So that's way too broad to be credible. Okay, now I have shorter examples here. Let's look at example number 3. This has a big hand print on it. On the hand, you have some mystique symbols that are from the Kabbalah, I believe, some mystic symbols we see in the tarot. And in the middle of the hand, it is written heart, hashtag life is hard. Okay. It says, psychic advisor guaranteed to solve your problems, 85% accuracy. So it's guaranteed, but 85% accuracy. I don't know, but the numbers don't line up for me. And then you just have random questions and statement around the hand. It says, what was her name again? Tattoo spiritual guide. Robbed at your bodega? That's kind of specific. Free Wi-Fi. I always like when I get a psychic reading with someone and there's free Wi-Fi, so I can just, I don't know, check my Instagram profile while I'm getting the reading. I don't get that one. Or maybe, I don't know, they want to get you free Wi-Fi in your house? I don't know. Stolen bike seat? What did I do with my life? 100% social? Okay. I'm not getting this one. Is a psychic wanting you to know that he's 100% social? Okay. Where are my panties? Okay. So this psychic had a lot of clients who lost their panties or were robbed at their bodega or got their bike seat stolen? It's hard to tell. Also, tattoo spiritual guide. Like, maybe that person is giving you a spiritual tattoo? It's hard to tell. But in big letters, it says, get answers now. We got a pyramid with a kind of third eye in the middle, like you get on American bills. We have a phone number, an address. There you go. Wow, this was a fun one. Okay, red flags here. Again, they're guaranteeing to solve problems. That's a form of guaranteed results. That's not legit. They say 85% accuracy. Now, that's a fake precision just to appear credible. They say get answers now to create urgency and pressure to act. They use vague promises like giving you answers instead of a clear process. Their number is 1844 Cal OSAL, so that is a hotline style phone number that's often linked to paid call services. Also, they mix random topics: love, life purpose, trivial question. Now, there's a lack of depth and specialization. It also creates curiosity gaps, like, what do I do with my life? Where are my panties? That is an emotional hook. Like, even I am very much amused by this. It relies on aesthetic symbols. You see astrology, palmistry, mystic icons. People who love tarot will just recognize those mystic icons. That is visual authority without substance. And also, they position themselves as a quick fix rather than a personal process. Whew, that was a fun one. Okay, now my last example. It's also an ad. It says, read Max. I think Max is the name of the person. On the top, it says 2 emails a week can be yours. Discover the mystery of the Substack. Okay. Read Max, cyber consultant, powerful master in computer. Oh, that's interesting. Tells past, present, future. Okay. Explain mysteries, memes, forum lore. Why do I need a kind of psychic to explain memes? But you have kind of these symbols, like you have the moon and stars, you have the pyramid and the third eye in the middle. So you're like, it looks like a psychic, but is it? Like they're blending computers and psychic stuff? Recommends action movies and sci-fi. Wow. for people who don't have friends to recommend action movies and sci-fi. If you are having problems on message boards, social media, mega platforms, I can help. Don't let fear, pride, or doubt be your enemy. Reach out and call me to help you. Okay, guys. When I found this, I was sure this was a psychic scam, but it seems like it's just a regular cyber consultant scam. But they play with the iconography because they use psychic iconography. But they are red flags here. So it says powerful master. That's exaggerated authority claim. They claim to read the past, present, and future. So yes, there is that psychic element. This is so confusing. That's completely an unrealistic scope for me. They offer unrelated services. You see, even as I'm reading this, because I actually went on the internet and gathered examples weeks ago, and now I'm recording this. So I couldn't remember, and I'm reading this, I'm confused. Like, they talk about mysteries, memes, movies, social media issues, but also they can tell past, present, future. There's an obvious lack of specialization. They're making vague promises like, I can help you, let me help you. There's no clear method or process. There is obvious emotional manipulation, like, don't let fear or doubt be your enemy. That is straight psychological influence. There's a call to action with pressure. It says, call me now, which is the classic urgency tactic. There's a phone-based service, so probably it's a paid hotline. They say, oh yeah, at the top they said one free question. That is bait to start a paid interaction. They overuse mystical symbols, as I've mentioned, that pyramid, that space imagery. There's a planet, there's a moon, there are stars, so it's all visual authority without substance. And they mix technology and spirituality, calling themselves cyber consultant, using confusion to appear unique or advanced. But the harsh reality is that some people seek guidance when they are in extreme emotional vulnerability after a loss, a divorce, depression, or an obsessive relationship. And in those moments, they're looking for a sign, they're looking for hope, for a quick answer, and that's very human, but that's exactly what these scammers exploit. They don't target just anyone, they target moments of vulnerability. Now, if we flip this on the other side, I had to refuse certain readings. I've had to even block people who kept coming back, clients who kept coming back looking for miracle solutions. So after the first reading, at the second or third reading, I was realizing that they didn't want to work on their personal growth. They just wanted to ask the same questions over and over again, hoping for a different answer, or hoping for some kind of magical healing. But real guidance isn't about giving magical answers. It's about helping someone reconnect to their own power. Now, what I want you to take from this episode is that spirituality should never make you feel afraid, make you dependent, or make you feel like you're less powerful. It should do exactly the opposite, actually. It should bring you back to yourself. Now you know all of those tactics with fake psychics and all the distortions they use with the spiritual world. So I hope that you are better equipped to navigate the unseen with discernment, and most importantly, without losing your power. And here I would like to ask you something. Have you ever had an experience with a practitioner that made you feel uncomfortable, or, on the contrary, deeply safe and supported? Please let me know in the comments. I would truly love to hear from you. And as always, thank you so much for being here. See you soon. Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to the Mystical and Practical podcast with Meli Guidance. If this episode spoke to you, please subscribe to the channel and leave some stars, a thumbs up, or a comment. It truly helps to share the podcast with other old souls seeking a deeper understanding of the spirit world. If you're interested in getting an Akashic Records reading, a tarot reading, or joining one of my online courses, you will find all the details at meliguidance.com. This podcast was edited by plcm.ca and the original music was composed by record.bandcamp.com. Until next time, remember, we are all souls having a human experience and we can all be mystical and practical.